So in this video, we're going to talk about simplifying fractions. So what is a fraction? A fraction is simply a number that is smaller than 1, or something of an amount that is smaller than the whole thing. We use fractions to talk about things that we have one less of. So basically, if we have a number line, we have a 0 here, and 1 here. A fraction is anything that falls in between these two numbers. It can also go up to 2 and anything that falls in between these two numbers. So if we have, let's say, 1.5, the 1.5 will fall right here on the number line, because if we divide this unit between 1 and 2 in half, this is where it would fall. Fractions fall in between 2 points of a number line. Say we have another number line, say 0 is right here, 1. Fractions are anything that falls in between these 2 points. If we divide these 2 points in half, this would be 1/2. We can also divide them even further. Say this is a 0 and this is the 1. And we divide these 2 points into 4 equal pieces. So this would be 1/4, this would be 2/4, this would be 3/4. This, of course, would be 4/4, but the 4/4 is just 1. Fraction has 2 parts. Say we have a simple fraction of 2 divided by 4. The number on top is a numerator. The number on bottom is a denominator. The denominator tells us how many pieces the whole is divided into, and the numerator tells us how many pieces we have. So if we draw a pie chart, and since our pie is broken down into 4 pieces, we cut it into 4 pieces, and the numerator tells us that we have 2 of these pieces, so we have 1 and 2, which can also be broken down into half. When people talk about fractions, they usually talk about parts of a whole thing rather than a number line. So let's draw some fractions out on a pie chart. Let's say we have a fraction of 3/4. And we draw our pie chart. The denominator, tells us how many pieces the whole is broken up into. So we break it into 4 equal pieces. And the numerator tells us how many pieces we have. So since it's broken down into 4 pieces, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. And we have 3 of these fourths. That's what the numerator is telling us. So we have 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. You can also say we have 3/4. If this is a pizza, we can say we have 3/4 of a pizza. Let's say we're given a fraction of 1/3. To visualize what this 1/3 means, let's draw our pie chart and break it down into pieces. The denominator tells us how many pieces it's broken into. So it's broken into 3 equal pieces. So we're going to break our pie chart into 3 equal pieces. And the numerator tells us how many pieces we have. We have 1 of the 3 pieces. And this is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3. And we have 1/3. So we have 1 of those pieces. If this was 2/3, we would have 2/3 of the pizza. So we'll have additional pizza. So now let's take a look at fractions that represent the same value. Say we have 1/2, then we have 2/4, then we have 4/8. So let's draw the pi. The 2 in the denominator tells us that this pi is cut into 2 pieces. So we cut it in 2 pieces, and this is 1/2, and this is 1/2, 2 pieces. And the numerator is telling us that we have one of these pieces. Now let's move on to the 2/4. Let's draw it out. The 4 tells us that this pi is divided into 4 equal pieces. So we do that. This is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4. And the numerator tells us that we have 2 of these pieces. That's 1, 2. Now let's draw the last one. Again, the denominator is telling us that this pi is broken down, cut up into 8 pieces. So let's cut our pi into 8 pieces. And then the numerator is telling us that we have 4 of these pieces. That's 4. As you can see, all of them are basically half. All of them are half. This is basically half the pi. This is half the pi. And this is half the pi. We are dealing with the same amount or the same value, but the pieces are smaller. When this happens, we can reduce the fractions. Let's start with 1/2. 1/2 cannot be reduced, so we just leave it as is. 2/4 can be reduced, and it can be reduced by dividing by half, the top and bottom by half. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 4 2 times, so that's 1/2. 4/8 can also be reduced to 1/2 by dividing the numerator and denominator by 4. So we have 4 and divide the bottom by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 8 2 times. As you can see, once they're reduced, they represent the same value. So let's do some problems. Let's say we have 2/8. Can we reduce this fraction? Yes, we can. We can divide the top by 2, and we can also divide the bottom by 2. When we do that, we have 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 4 4 times. So this fraction, 2/8, reduces to 1/4. Now we have 2/6. Can this be reduced? Yes, it can. We can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2 again. So 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 3 3 times. So 2/6 reduces to 1/3. Now let's say we have 7 and 21. This fraction can also be reduced. If we divide the top by 7 and the denominator by 7, 7 goes into 7 one time, and 7 goes into 21 3 times. So 7/21 reduces to 1/3.